Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
Get yourself some of that cold, nice cereal, my AKAPADers. Welcome back. It's the weekend. We're talking cartoons. We're talking animation. It's the AKAPAD Film Buff podcast. And why do we switch the movie podcast to a cartoon podcast on the weekends? Well, because I'm a freak. I have levels of interest, and things just fascinate me. And I eventually came to the conclusion that there's a lot of crossover between the live action movies, or the regular movies, the regs, if you want to call them that, and animation and cartoons. Recently, we just did the what movie did we do? Cloudy with the Chainsaw Meatballs, right? Cloudy with the Chainsaw Meatballs. That creator, director, he did the Lego movie, right? Animation, all CGI. But he's the guy behind Project Hail Mary, one of the best science fiction films of the modern age. So there's even like a talent crossover, not just on the level that a lot of animation techniques show up in live action. For example, like something like Transformers, or Iron Man and the transforming of Iron Man's armor. A lot of these bigger tentpole movies are, we can argue, they're animated movies. Like Avatar is animation. It's I get it. It looks like live action. They have people there on screen, but it's largely animation, and that it's a blurry line. So on the weekends, we just said we'll just have to start discussing anime, TV series, animation, early 80s, late 90s, all of it. And today we arrive again, because yesterday we talked about X-Men Evolution, but today we're discussing when I discovered X-Men, which is easily the greatest superhero franchise that they just haven't. It's so funny though when we look at the X-Men. I mean, it's about, if we roll into Deadpool movies, because a lot of crossover too with Deadpool. Deadpool's not just a solo X-Men / mutant character, but I mean, he's running around the X-Men mansion and doing all kinds of stuff, right? Like, his villain is, even in that third movie, is the sister of Charles Xavier. If we roll in all of the X-Men movies, though, it's maybe like 11 or 12 movies. Wolverine Origins, and we have X-Men 1, 2, and like X-Men to X-Men Last Stand. That's a trilogy. And then there's the other trilogy, right? Like, it just keeps going. And that's a little bit of the X-Men trope, which is really big storylines, just like epic stuff. And part of the reason for that is the characters of the X-Men are so powerful. Not just with their power scaling, because now they call some of them like Omega mutants, which, oh my god, like once they're born with powers, they evolve powers, which is thank you, Grant Morrison, for that one. Just makes it a little bit more confusing and less authentic to me. The simpler the idea for the comic book, the better. But I was a kid, and we all discovered X-Men. We had like a little bit of a comic book reading group when I was in elementary school going into middle school. But middle school is really where it hit, and we all would just go to like the comic shops and get dropped off. And a lot of those kids moved on from that relatively quick. I held on even in high school when I backed away from comic books. I was still going to comic shops, so I was still browsing and would buy something here and there, but it wasn't really like a focal point. And I'm aging myself a little bit here, but I was a young kid. I think I might have been in 8th grade, maybe 7th grade, and I remember putting the TV on, and I caught the end credits of this X-Men pilot. Now, I didn't know what a pilot was back then. It was just the credits and still images. but it was what's referred to now as Pryde of the X-Men. And it's called Pryde of the X-Men because the focal character, see, one of the character tropes that has emerged in the X-Men franchise is the introduction of a new member into the team that is the avatar of the audience to get educated on who the X-Men are, what the school of Charles Xavier is, all of it. In the films, it became Rogue. Rogue becomes the avatar for the audience. Here, it's Kitty Pryde, who really is the best choice for this. Now, in the 90s, when they finally did, also premiering in a similar fashion on primetime as Pryde of the X-Men. Now, let's get the year. Oh boy, I'm all over the place. This is 1989. 1989. Marvel Studios. So Marvel, like, this is even back when Marvel was predominantly and positioned as a next Disney. They wanted all the characters to become animated, like they wanted the Marvel comic book franchise to become an animation franchise. And there's various levels of success, but they, again, like, not even close to Disney. But this is something you hear about time and time again when we go back through Marvel history. Pryde of the X-Men, 1989. I caught the premiere when it dropped on release, September 16th, 1989. So I caught the end of this, and let's just say this is, without just double checking this Wikipedia entry, but I catch it, and we were all introduced to the X-Men through Wolverine. So just imagine a bunch of South Jersey kids that think Wolverine is the coolest thing. So we would go to the comic shop, buy all the Wolverine covers, buy the Wolverine monthly book, which really, if you go back to a lot of those John Buscema early issues, not the Wolverine we want. We wanted Wolverine with brown costume, claws popped, and killing everything. Like that was our Wolverine. But we never quite got it. Never quite even got it within the pages of X-Men until Jim Lee showed up, and then it was just Wolverine every single cover. Wolverine slashing things, ripping off armor, like just doing nutty things. So I catch this, and it's the end credits, and the end credits roll, but it's just like still images from the episode. But it's only one episode. I think it's the best pilot if you want to compare it to the 70s Hulk animation, the Spider Girl, Spider Woman cartoon, Spider-Man, or the Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends really was the benchmark of Marvel animation at the time. But this pilot, in my view, is perfect. It's gold. It's just golden. Ponyboy from Outsiders. And it also became the template of a video game. So all of the designs, the addition of Dazzler is really what stands out. But there's an X-Men stand-up arcade that's can be up to 2, 4, or 6 players. It was later re-released by Arcade 1-Up as a 4-player. But all the designs and the power sets and the villains in that video game, like villains like the Blob, which is just always, like, visually one of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, one of their best ones. But we get like Pyro in this. We get the White Queen. We get this like late 80s, early 90s villain set that we know is from the John Byrne, Chris Claremont, Dave Cockrum era. But yeah, I catch this, and I call my friend. I call my friend Mario, who I think moved to LA, and he might have been like a part of a Comic-Con. I used to try and follow him on Facebook or LinkedIn or something. Trying to figure out what. I never reached out to him. Or he like disappeared, and I may have contacted his like sister at one time and tried to like reach out, but I called this Mario kid, and I'm trying to explain to him what I just saw, and it's I just sound like, like I saw like a UFO or something. And here's the crazy thing: the Pride of the X-Men never got replayed, so it never really came back on television, and it wasn't until it was released on VHS in the 90s. Now, this did get a VHS release through a mail-in. You could get How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way as an ad, and you could get that, and then you would get a VHS of that with Stan Lee and John, going back to John Buscema, and you would get a pilot VHS of Pryde of the X-Men. And by the time I got that, I want to say like Mario and I were, we were distant, or we were in separate schools, but we just that quickly, as close as we were, as friends, we fell out of friendship. And then it got a wide release in the 90s where you could go to Kmart or Clover or Bradley's. This is before everything was like a Best Buy or Suncoast. You would get your VHSs in general convenience stores. But in the 90s, they were pretty aggressive with just releasing a lot of Marvel product with really bad cover artwork. But Pride of the X-Men got a wider release. I want to say might have been 96, like 97, maybe like 10 years later. It came out, and that second VHS release, because the first VHS release was mail only. You had to mail away for it. And that's where people discovered this. And then they would just bash Wolverine's accent, which I think is fine in this. I believe this is available on YouTube, but it blew me away, AKAPADers. It is such an embedded memory of catching, and the crazy thing is, when I first saw G.I. Joe, also Marvel animation, was very similar. I caught G.I. Joe on primetime, and I was only able to watch the end credits, and you're just like mesmerized by this thing that just happened. You missed, but here's like a taste of it. I will say it to this day. The Pride of the X-Men pilot is the absolute X-Men template to introduce an audience to the characters, franchise, villains, the attitude of the team, the environment within like the lore, and what to expect from the storytelling, even the art direction, just the range of colors of everyone, because everyone's in like brightly colored costumes, but it just works. And like the world of it all, because the X-Men live in a different world than their counterparts. Fantastic Four, you can make a very similar argument. Like Fantastic Four clearly have their own world, but the X-Men are different than FF, the Amazing Spider-Man, Captain America, the Avengers. Like they're their own franchise for a reason, and it really is because the characters are so powerful. They have to do their own things. I think it's really tough to get X-Men and the Avengers together, because in my view, the X-Men would really wipe. Like we can always say like Thor's immortal, like this and that, but like outside of Thor, all of the X-Men would just go right through the Avengers. Like there's not much competition at all. And technically we can say Storm could equalize Thor, right? Because they're the Thunder Goddess and the Thunder God of some sort, maybe. I don't but that's geeky stuff. But yeah, AKAPADers, just like sharing a core memory today, and just kind of litigating this for myself. It really brings back. I think about, like what is that Mario kid doing right now that I had to call as soon as I finished watching this. Love you guys. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.